We're going to dial in today, meeting with David De Sevilla.
Centro para Emprendedores, which translates to Center for Entrepreneurs. Any person who wants to go into business and you have an idea, how to turn that idea into your actual business. We got to Río Piedras in 2020. So far, we have supported 38 businesses that already were in Río Piedras. We've given support to 18 new businesses.
There's some very intriguing companies.
You got to think about exporting. And that's the change of mindset that it's happening. How do we get that mindset to the people that want to go there? And we're already seeing a little bit of that. Hopefully, that's going to keep evolving.
Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Entrepreneurs Podcast. This is Drew Cutcomb.
Brian Borgery.
And we're going to dial in today, meeting with David De Sevilla, who wears multiple hats in the local community that we're going to get into in this episode. But really, this episode is going to appeal to somebody who has some roots in Puerto Rico. If you were raised here or moved here, because we're going to get into the entrepreneurial ecosystem, even just other overlapping elements when it comes to just political interests and how everything comes together to make a healthy Puerto Rico and a thriving Puerto Rico, because that's the goal at the end of the day. So appreciate you joining and excited to talk and learn.
Very glad to be here with you guys. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so we've known each other for a few years at minimum, if not 5. And so we even did a podcast before, which people can look up. It's still
correct.
Yeah, dig in the archives on our YouTube and see what you can find.
I think we both have more gray hair since then.
Definitely. Or less hair.
Yes.
Whichever.
Yes. Earned through the stress, obviously. So maybe let's get into starting with your background. Like, give us some context to where you're coming from.
Yes.
And
all right. So I actually job right off of college was investments. I got into like very basic low-level sales in kind of brokerage, but I quickly changed that to trading. I actually semi-retired from trading from an investment bank. I used to be the head of trading over there, fixed income trading, and it got just a little bit, I guess, I don't want to say dull, but, kind of empty.
unfulfilling.
Yeah, that's the word, unfulfilling. And after that I decided to, how do I get back? How do I give back? And then I started delving into a lot of nonprofits. And that's been the case since probably 2017, 2018.
You were raised in San Juan, or?
Yes, in the metro area. I actually grew up in Guaynabo and live in San Juan right now. Yes.
Very cool.
So we're in your home turf right now here in Guaynabo.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Because we're here at Perea Space in Guaynabo. So let's get into, so Centro para Emprendedores is kind of like a more full-time focus versus the board roles, which we can get into later. That organization, if you don't speak Spanish, give them some context. It's for entrepreneurs. It's the Center for Entrepreneurship, right?
That is correct.
And so you're opening, your office in Río Piedras, which is you can give some context to, but that's right near the major University of Puerto Rico location, and kind of in a revitalizing area, which we'll get into with your impact fund there coming. But give us some context to Centro para Emprendedores and your role and what the goal is of the organization.
A little bit of history, like right after my trading background, investment backgrounds, my first nonprofit that I got onto was an environmental one. And soon after that, after Maria, there was a trip organized to go to New Orleans and see how they dealt with the hurricane over there. Mm-hmm. We were about more than 30 organizations that had a trip over there. And that's where I met all these nonprofits that opened the world to everything that was happening in Puerto Rico, because I didn't know anything about this before that.
This is a Hurricane Maria timing?
Correct. Yes, right after Hurricane Maria. It was a 2018 trip. And I remember meeting the Nerma, which is the founder of Centro para Emprendedores, which translates to Center for Entrepreneurs. And I met her in Plaza Las Americas out of nowhere, and I told her, are you looking for an intern for the organization? And she was like, yeah, sure, let's talk. And then she called me later and said, you talked to me out of an intern. Who's that? I said, it was me. I want to be, you know, I want to give you some time in the organization. And I gave her like, I think it was 8 weeks, something like that, for like just volunteering in the organizations. And after that, I stayed there. And after that, I've been in Centro para Emprendedores since, I guess, 2018. Centro para Emprendedores mainly deals with first any person who wants to go into business and you have an idea, how to turn that idea into your actual business, how to actually, you know, do the steps, which everybody thinks maybe, oh, I want to just open a restaurant. It's not that easy, right? You know, you have to go through the motions. So that's like the very early steps. Throughout the years, we've opened a lot more, I guess, curricula courses, programs, correct. So we have a pre-acceleration program right now. We have, we're starting an acceleration program. We already have the first cohort. We have a program that was built right in the pandemic, because there's a lot of businesses in Puerto Rico that only have their physical stores, storefronts. Yeah, they're not online. So we actually opened this course to I guess turn these businesses into businesses that people can see, can buy from them. That was a hugely successful program in the pandemic, and we're very proud of that. And we also have a lot of programs to help people. We've already given out, I guess, over $1 million in cash grants after different catastrophic events, hurricanes, the earthquakes in the south and southwest part of Puerto Rico. So that's a very important program for us as well. Everything, of course, dedicated to entrepreneurs, people that have their businesses. Like I said, even from the very early stage to, you know, maybe a couple $1 million in revenues. That's our range right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we had Hector with Peril 18 on recent, and so people can have context to that. How would you say you're different than Peril 18?
I guess Peril is a little bit more focused on tech. We are agnostic to industry. What we want is the businesses to grow, and it depends on the program. But one of the most successful programs is Núcleo, which is the pre-accelerator program. We're already starting we're on our 5th cohort.
Wow.
And the very special thing about that program is that at the beginning of the program, every business that goes into the program is assigned a business analyst. So you will not be alone in the program. Through the weeks, you have someone to tend to you to get your goal, like to meet your goals. Because that's another thing. At the beginning of the program, each participant will write at least 3 goals that they're going to work towards. So it's kind of tailored to you. It's not just a cookie cutter. Will, you know, help you out with your goals, and that's a very
accountability.
Yeah,
with tools, resources, etc.
Yes.
Do you find that those companies, startups, founders know what goals they should have? Because some might have goals, I've seen anyways, that maybe shouldn't be their goals. Do you run into that a lot? Is that just sometimes? How do you handle that?
That definitely happens. As you started the question, I got reminded of one of our participants that was actually in a video that we took, and she's saying, like, at the beginning of the program, I was convinced that, you know, never in the world I would sell my company, and through the program, like, I learned, don't fall in love with the company, right? If I find a seller, it's a good price, I will sell a company and I will build another company. And that's like the change of mindset that you have. And that's very important to teach, you know, that you come with a pre-programmed notions, and how can we, you know, at least present to you with a whole lot other options and the why of those options, so you can learn how to, you know, move in a different way.
Yeah, the why is super important.
Yeah, of course.
And that's also a really interesting insight, that specific example you gave, because you don't even have to be an early stage founder or anything to be super in love with your company or whatnot. And that can cause a lot of issues. I'm an example. I had to fire a co-founder, CTO of a company we were running because they were too in love with their original idea. That ended up being detrimental to the success of the company overall. That actually can happen a lot with tech founders, that if they're like the developer by nature or more on the technical side, because they dream something up. But any type of founder, really, you're like, oh, this is my thing. It's so hard to let go. But there's something super freeing when you do, especially if you let go at a good time and you can benefit from it instead of you let go because you killed it because you hung on too tight.
Yes.
But when you do that, it's like you open up and it's like a new birth, or you become a butterfly or whatever. But
we always like to say, like, do not fall in love with your solution, fall in love with the problem. And first work with that. And then, how do you go about that? Because any company whatsoever, it's going to have, what are the options later? What are your options? The company dies, somebody else buys your company, because you're not going to live forever, right? Yeah. So what's going to happen with that company later? Yeah. Are you planning for that? Yes, no. So there's a lot of teaching to be taught, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also, I'm hearing you say it's a mindset that you're instilling, that entrepreneurship isn't taught traditionally in schools. Maybe you can comment if that is the case down here. I mean, in reality, it's a lot of trials and errors, and like you're just wanting to essentially, if I'm hearing you, cut down the time of them needing to make mistakes and so forth to start making money and thrive. And so maybe a couple things that people might be thinking as they're listening to this that you could answer is like, is there a fee to be a part of this? And who are the ideal people that should be reaching out? And do they actually even have to be part of the program to benefit?
Usually our programs, depending on the program, but most of our programs have already a promoter of the program. So the people that get into the program do not have to pay. It's just the time and the commitment. Of course, that's a very important part of the program. At the beginning, you have to make the commitment to be there and spend the time. And we're gonna tell you what's gonna happen. So it's very important that you do make the commitment, because other people put up the money for you to be able to go through the program. So that is definitely a very important part. It depends on which stage you are. For example, if you're a very early stage, I just have an idea. We have I don't know if you guys know Startup Weekend. Techstars is they bought Startup Weekends. Well, we're the unofficial Startup Weekend producers in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And what is that?
Startup Weekend is basically a weekend-long program, and it's very intense. Like, let's say Friday from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So it's very, very, very intense. And we're going to take you through, you have an idea, okay, how do you validate the idea? What do you need to get that idea going on? What are maybe the permits? Are you going to need financing? What type of financings are available for you on that stage that you're in? So we're going to take you through all the different steps that you want to take. But the most important thing is that all maybe less one of our programs, you're going to be doing stuff. It's not just you're going to be sitting in a classroom and we're going to be just teaching. We're going to give you a lesson and you're going to go out there and do it. Like in the Startup Weekend, you are actually going to go out there. If you're in a building, you're going to go out and validate your idea. And that's very important.
That's super important.
You have to be there. You have to, experience it yourself. And that's the most important thing when you're doing anything. So that's Startup Weekend, right?
How often do you do that?
Well, it depends. I guess the most that we did in a year was 9. And taking into account that this is a weekend experience, that's very hard on the team, on our team. Yeah. Most countries that they do once or twice a year. So that's, a lot. You actually experience burnout from like the team, from the Startup Weekends. Right now for 2024, I think we have 2 or 3 already lined up. So we're going to let you know, be on the lookout. Centro para Emprendedores.
Do you do them around the island, or do you do them all at one spot, or what?
Around the island. Like we've been, like that year that we did 9, it's around the island.
Yeah, I remember a couple of those, and one was like on the west side, I think. And I remember that.
Actually, there was one in Vieques a couple of years ago. So yeah, really all around the island. Right now, what we're doing, like if you're interested in having a Startup Weekend and you have the sponsors to do it, call us up and we'll
facilitate.
See if we'll see if it's a good match. Obviously, there's a lot of more stuff that needs to align, and we'll help you out with that. So let's start Weekend. That's like
who would be the ideal person to reach out to you to potentially organize that?
Usually, universities reach out for that type of of event. I guess that's mostly like educational organizations are the ones that mostly reach out for that type of program. But it can be anyone. It doesn't have to be like it can be. Also, we have government organizations that have reached out to let the Start Weekend be available for different people around the island. So it doesn't have to be. And usually, when we do a Start Weekend, it's usually for anyone that comes in. So that's a pretty open program, and we try to have it doesn't matter who the sponsor is. We try to have it open so that.
So you don't even need to come with an idea for that, because you could join somebody else's idea.
That is correct.
It's just you're around the entrepreneurial energy. You leave, if I'm hearing you, with kind of a condensed way of knowing if that's for maybe even for you.
Correct. Yes.
And, because obviously entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. I'm assuming you would even coach some people that go through programs that maybe they should be an intrapreneur and work for somebody or whatever. Because there's a lot of risk up front with, not necessarily making money and all that.
But actually, we're finding that nowadays, there's a lot more people that want to go into entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
sure.
And it used to be the case that the education system in Puerto Rico did not teach like anyone to be an entrepreneur, but that's changing.
Yeah.
That's changing real fast.
It just passed too now. I think starting this coming year, every class or every grade will have a class on entrepreneurship across the entire island.
That's going to be very interesting. Changes are coming. And of course, with every change, we're going to see hits and misses. So we're going to find out which are the hits and do more of that and identify the misses.
Yeah.
But,
even just having it on the mindset though, like even if you're doing it poorly, but at least people will be thinking entrepreneurship from day one. Parents will be hearing it. I know they just trained in like 1,000 teachers or something like that with HR Parlante and some other programs. So I'm excited about that. I mean, I have kids in school too. I'm like, I can't wait to have my little girls come home talking about who knows what. And hopefully it's good stuff. But just having that mindset, we talk about mindset a lot. Like it's mindset. It's not even every instruction you get, the mindset. And we were actually, when we were setting things up before you guys got here, Michael, Miguel, and I were talking about mindset, and as long as you learn how to learn, then you're in a good spot. And you can't only just sit on the programs. I don't know. Do you ever see that? So those who are going through maybe the more structured, like accelerator type programs, do you see some that like latch on to every instruction that's given, like they're reading a manual, and others that just kind of...
There's always a little bit of everything.
And what's that look like? Do you see some be more successful than others, or like what's your analysis on that?
It depends, because if you have that type of personality that you're latching onto everything, maybe in the end, if there's nothing to latch onto, like, okay, so what do I do now? But yeah, I guess also if you have the personality that I'm gonna take advantage of every single detail that I can get, and we've had that type of people also that type of personality, they definitely get go out of the program with a different mindset, but a lot of more tools in the belt, you know. So
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. You guys have been doing this for years. And so I think you had mentioned off camera, 2018, you got involved after Maria, I guess you did say it here too. Give us some context to how you've seen the entrepreneur ecosystem evolve in that time.
The ecosystem has definitely been evolving. I think it's still early stage. If maybe 15 years around that, a little bit more. It depends on who you're asking. But it's still early, and you're seeing a lot more organizations, NGOs, or for-profit, or government, or private companies get into it. And I think we're evolving, and we're actually seeing hits and misses, which is always good. Also, what are we doing that's not that great, and what is working. And I'm very excited to see how it keeps evolving over the next years, because obviously the youngsters are coming up, and what type of ideas they bring to the table, and how it's going to evolve. I think it's going to be good. I'm very positive.
So on that, let's zoom in a little bit. We talked about Río Piedras. And I know you've been very involved just in that area in general. Can you give some quick context to everyone about maybe the history of Río Piedras and lay it out? Because a lot of people won't know. It's in San Juan, but give some context to that, and then we can dive into what's happening there. What have you been working on? What are you excited about? Maybe what should the people listening be aware of, or how can they get involved, or how could they help?
Yes.
So
Río Piedras, like Centro launched a program in Río Piedras almost 3 years ago. And that's a very important piece of information, because one of the things we've learned is that if you're going to impact any type of zone, you cannot just go in there, I'm going to do this, and, I'm going to head out. You got to be there, you got to become involved, and it's very important that the community also accepts you, which is very important for us. And it's been a very beautiful program. Río Piedras used to be the center of economic activity in Puerto Rico for all the people from Puerto Rico that are here. I'm pretty sure that you know this. But a lot of things happened after that. Malls started popping up. So then people got spread out. Instead of everyone having, Río Piedras having all the economic activity, it started to spread out.
You mean like Mall of San Juan and others that people would start to go and
correct. Yes. So there are more options. After that, also we had a very tragic incident with the explosion that everybody knows as the explosion of Humberto Vidal in Río Piedras. All the gas lines are not in use right now, but used to be all underground. And one of those gas lines exploded in a tragic incident in Puerto Rico. So that also affected. And
when was that?
I think 80s. Correct me. Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And
I've never heard that. I didn't know that. So how did that impact people? Did they feel less secure living there?
Definitely, it brought up a point of security, and it was a big explosion. So we have to get over that. It was very tragic. And then, I don't know if you've been there to Río Piedras, but the train station is huge. Like from one end to the other, it's gigantic. And you go down the station and it's huge. It's incredible.
It's like New York subway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just was there at Mucho Gusto. There's the ice cream shop.
Yes.
And there's a few, it's popping. If people haven't been there yet, they need to kind of check it out, because it feels similar to me like when I've lived in Latin America or traveled, you go through those like markets where there's people, usually very bustling with people trying to like sell you knickknacks and things, but this is like empty. It's like a ghost town at the moment, with signs of life with what you're doing there and this impact fund, which you'll get into in a second. But just to give some context.
Yeah, I'm gonna just a little bit more from that train station. When they built the train station, it just killed the town, because you couldn't go in, you couldn't go out. The businesses that already aired there.
In the time of construction.
On the time of construction, it took a
So
long time.
actual...
Yeah, so that was that was like the nail that sealed the coffin.
Yeah.
For that era of Río Piedras.
That's a perfect example of the unintended consequences from a lot of development and government decisions.
Yeah.
There's always those consequences when you think it's really good and it's going to be that, but okay, well, what's going to happen until you get there, and what are these rippling side effects that come from something?
You don't foresee these things happening, and that's actually what happened. So we got there. We got to Río Piedras in 2020, around 2020, and we actually one of the first things that we wanted to do is just set shop in Río Piedras. We have a space right there in Río Piedras, which we're developing. We have a building there. So far, we have supported 38 businesses that already were in Río Piedras. Besides those 38 businesses, 2022, 2023, and 2024, we've given support to 18 new businesses that have opened in those years and will open in the next 2 months and in 2024.
In that area?
In Río Piedras, specifically, what we call the Casco de Río Piedras, like that little area where you went, that's called the Callejón del Carmen. And that's, you got to go there. You're going to see Mucho Gusto, which is the vegan ice cream. You're going to see Necromancy Cosmetica, which is obviously cosmetics, but go there and find out. You're gonna have El Templo, which is gonna be a barbershop. You have Double Cake, you have Café Comunión, which is very close by. We have Memento Rosas, which is a new tattoo shop. You got to check that out also. I hope I don't miss anyone. Min Bordados. We have Paradoja, which is plant-based food also. Like down in the train station, we have Hotel Nest, which is also like one of the anchors tenants over there. In front, you have Semilla, which is a vegan restaurant. So there's a lot of activity going on there that people don't know about. And if you just go and find out, there's a lot of stuff happening, and you're going to see that developing even more in the next coming months. So like we are very excited in Centro that we got involved with this community. And again, we're just like a piece of the puzzle, I think. We're just maybe a little piece that helps out network with everyone, you know, the Department of Development, Economic Development of the municipality.
You're the bridge.
So it's kind of a bridge, and help out everybody navigate maybe the helps that are available so they can maybe jumpstart or give more life to the businesses. We already sorted out around $300,000 for the businesses in Río Piedras, some in mostly actually in grants, and some in 0% capital loans.
Okay.
So that's very good.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're pro-capitalism, and obviously, you know, that's what entrepreneurship's all built on. Hence, like, I have a buddy that's been doing some real estate development in that area to convert some, you know, distressed properties into affordable housing. I mean, it's not it's more of like, it's mid-tier. It's like somebody that fits that neighborhood because it's very student driven, right? Because the university's huge. So it's kind of like most people that are familiar here or off island, man, when you have housing around a college, that's like a guarantee, pretty consistent rental, and, you know, might get abused because of the type of tenant, but yet it's, you know, comes with that type of thing. But it feels like there's a lot of momentum in that area. And like, if we're talking about revitalization, it feels like there's a lot of eyes if people aren't familiar with it. And maybe people have wrote it off since the 80s, right? But yet it's like, this is a call to action to come see what you guys are doing there.
Definitely. We actually opened the Río Piedras, Centro para Emprendedores, Río Piedras Impact Fund for anyone that, you know, wants to help out the area. The Impact Fund is dedicated to helping the businesses and, you know, obviously helping Centro set up shop. We already have the space. We have most of the furniture that's going to be there, but we still need a little bit of help with the building itself, and, you know, some of the things that are happening in the building, maybe some AC. So yes, the Impact Fund is there so we can have more impact in the area of Río Piedras.
Tell us more about the fund structure itself. Is it like a fund people are donating to, just helping? Is it an investment fund? If so, how is that investment fund
we
structured?
want to keep it like very basic and easy. It's just going to be, you know, account set up so you can, you know, have some money put in there and help Río Piedras.
Okay, so it's like donations.
Yes, donations, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah, it's called Impact Fund, but it's going to be just donations.
Sure.
We don't want to get into the whole structure because that's going to be too expensive to actually get the help quickly.
Okay, and what is it set up? It's like under 501c3 or 110101 for
both. Yeah,
okay.
Centro is actually 501 and 1101, so we have all the exemptions, and any donation that you make to Centro, you can deduct that.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that counts for anyone who wants to donate, whether they have stateside or Puerto Rico interest in donating or as tax incentive or anything like that.
That's important.
All right, so that's good. We'll definitely if there's any links for it, we'll put them in the comments and the show notes, wherever that's going to be.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's something we've been noticing, and we're going to have future interviews on a lot of the revitalization of different areas. But that's one of the things that's most exciting to me, just in general in my life, even regardless of where I am, just revitalizing different areas. I have a semi-secret plan that we conjured up like a decade or more ago at a family reunion, because where my grandma's from in Arkansas burned down in the 80s and no one ever moved back. And we're like, hey, let's buy the township. And I think there's like 5 people that live randomly scattered out in the woods or whatever. So like, hey, let's buy it. Let's build it up again, or let's make it something. I don't know. But I've always had that interest. And I love seeing the projects. Río Piedras is one. We'll have some other interviews that talk about other parts of San Juan and the island in general. There's a lot happening in Centro, of course. Yeah. There's lots to talk about there. But I think Rio Piedras is a really interesting one because, especially for those, and probably a lot of people listening right now who weren't born here, just have no idea. Like they wouldn't even, or if you say Rio Piedras, might think it's a different town or city just because they don't have that context. But it's once they find out, I think they're, oh, there is something to this. And I remember I had a meeting there recently. I think it was a new restaurant that just opened, but I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. But once I parked and started walking around, I'm like, I can see it. I like it.
I don't know if you know this, but Rio Piedras used to be a municipality before it was part of San Juan.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
There we go.
Yeah. I can give you a tour over there and tell you that used to be like the mayor's house right there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why did it get absorbed into San Juan?
You know what? I actually don't know that part of that piece of the story, but it's pretty interesting.
There's your homework.
Yeah, got a homework. Got some more. The Rio Piedras community, like the people living there and the businesses, they're very organized and they're very like united. They all feel like this sense of community over there, which is
a mission.
Yeah, and that's very big in Centro para Emprendedores also. We can talk about it later. But I'm pretty sure I can ask them. And then they'll definitely let me know. They have the community leaders over there, which are great. They have a trust for the betterment of Rio Piedras. They have a community board. Yeah, like it's very organized over there.
Yeah, that actually just brings me to something I want to zoom out on really quick. The importance of community. Everywhere in the world, community isn't unique to only Puerto Rico, although there's amazing communities in Puerto Rico. But community is important. Online communities today and metaverses and all these other things. But community is at the top in almost everything. Like you want a community more than you just want random subscribers or followers. So like community is super important. But I feel like sometimes, especially in a digital world and in a global world, and everyone has a cell phone they're staring at instead of the community around them, that can get lost a lot of times. And I think that's where a lot of just issues happen. Like whether it's economic or just like people fighting or just whatever, is forgetting about the community aspect. And I think the further we get from communities, the worse things get, to be honest.
Yeah. That's like in Centro, that's very important. No matter after the pandemic, everything mostly was digital. But for us, even if most of our programs have a big digital component, it's super important for us to have networking events with like be right there, have everyone sharing, bring mentors to the events, but have it like in person right there. And that's very big for us. Yesterday, I got an email from one of our participants asking for some help. Today, I have 2 messages from past participants, asking for a little bit of guidance. Past participants have been teachers in new programs. So that community in Centro is super important to us. And it's very beautiful that we can grow the community and keep getting more and more information out there and have that community growing so that we can help each other out. That's super important.
So you're providing a lot of tools and resources. An obvious one is Act 60. How does that weave into how you're typically recommending, or how do you see people using it in general?
Using
that maybe
the
people
incentives,
that don't recognize that maybe they could qualify.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about them. That's sad, and it's not that easy to actually get into become a participant of some of the incentives. We have collaborated with people that help us out, and we're still trying to build a stronger relationship with Britco and DDEC so we can have that out more openly to everyone. We're still working on that. That's one of the pieces that we are trying to develop even more so we can get that out there to more people. Because a lot of people don't know about this incentives, and they are very important.
Yeah, and they're available.
And they are available.
And way underutilized.
Yes.
I think most recent numbers, don't quote me on this, but I think Puerto Rico usage of incentives was 14%, but stateside the average is 30 to 50%. So we could easily double and still be on the lower end of usage of incentives that are available.
And there are incentives for small businesses young entrepreneurs, most people can, a lot of people can benefit from that, but they're not actually, applying for them. So we have to
Exactly.
get that more.
Yeah, which is if you're 35 years or younger,
Yeah.
you pay 0% first 500,000, which
Yeah.
is pretty game changing. And if you don't know that, like,
Yeah.
so we've talked about that in other, we can go more in depth, but yeah, no, that's interesting. I guess something that, you know, what's your mindset around how you coach some of your entrepreneurial participants on, you know, we in society with just everything being accessible online, we see like Silicon Valley and other type of like, you know, unicorn companies as this like standard or whatever, when in reality, not many ever will ever even be on that trajectory. It's more of a tech platform or something that would anyway, a restaurant, even at scale. But all that being said, like how, like, you know, making 5, 10, 20 million, 50 million a year in revenue and employing 5, 10, 50 people, and a lot of people, and these are businesses that solve a problem that the market is asking for is big. How do you kind of like coach on that mindset with your, and do you agree with that?
One of the basic tenets of Centro is entrepreneurship as a basis for social economic development of Puerto Rico. Like we want entrepreneurship to be a big motor of social economic development in Puerto Rico. So yes, if you want to grow that company to, you know, the outmost, to the gluteus, you know, ginormous, let's do that. If you just want to have kind of a lifestyle business, just have a couple of employees, do that. We will help you over there. Like, we are not trying to push. That's not who we are. We're not gonna tell you just grow, because we don't think that's appropriate to many people. But we do need you to be an entrepreneur and have all the education to be the best entrepreneur that you can, so you can bring an economic development to Puerto Rico. So definitely both sides. If you want to keep growing, we'll help you out as far as we can and let you know what next steps are there for you if you want to keep growing that company. If you just want to get to, you know, X, Y, Z step, let's do that. But let's do that in the best way possible. So yes.
Which kind of leads into Causa Local, which you're
Causa Local, yes.
which you're involved in as a board member, my understanding.
Yes, correct.
And so maybe give some context to that, and maybe what Kiva is, and how even maybe it's I'm assuming a bridge to what you're discussing.
Actually, Causa Local is a very good partner to Centro para Emprendedores. Causa Local is an NGO, also, you know, 501c3, 1101, and the original tenet of Causa Local is how do we get more capital and, you know, access to capital to entrepreneurs. How do we get more access to capital for entrepreneurs and not necessarily traditional? How can we do or get into Puerto Rico non-traditional capital? Kiva is one of those programs. Through Kiva, you can get a loan of up to $15,000 at 0% interest. The program does not check the credit history of the person. So it will not, you will not get a hard inquiry. Thank you, on your credit. But if you get the loan, it will actually help you build history. So that's a great tool for anyone that just needs between whatever $1,000 to $15,000. Then again, at 0% capital, which is great. You can be a new company, or, you know, just have years already in your history, but just need a little bit of capital. And that's one of the programs that Causa Local brings. Causa Local actually has digital entrepreneurship educational platform. So that's also very good, and it's free of cost for anyone that just wants to get in the platform and learn a little bit of different topics. And Causa Local also has WeFunder here in Puerto Rico. I don't know if you know about WeFunder.
I launched one of the first campaigns ever on WeFunder.
WeFunder.
And we raised more Bitcoin in 2 days on WeFunder than every other company compared.
So, like, for those of you who don't know, like, WeFunder is kind of like a crowd sourcing of capital.
Equity crowdfunding platform.
Exactly.
And the biggest Reg CF crowdfunding platform globally. It's not a Puerto Rico company. It's definitely.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
But it's a tool that entrepreneur could use.
Yeah, we've had two companies, Ron Artesano, which, you know, they've raised upwards of $300,000 through WeFunder. Libro 787 is raising. They're up to, I think, $100,000 probably. But you can raise up to millions of dollars through WeFunder. So that's what Causa Local wants to do. You know, digital platform for education, and how do we get more access to capital to local entrepreneurs through Kiwa, which is $15,000 or less, or We Funder, which you can get 52 millions, and there's more stuff coming through there. So also, be on the lookout, because there's a lot more, hopefully, non-traditional capital possibilities coming through Causa Local.
Very cool.
I had one question I want to jump back to, just because I don't want to wait to ask. So of the companies you've been working with through various programs, whether it's Causa Local or Centro or anything else, because you still have your hands in a lot of different things, which is great that you can do that. What percentage of the companies that you see and work with would you say are ones that are more built to be more lifestyle or more kind of contained? And how many, if any, really seem to maybe have it where they'd be a target for VC or could really expand globally or something like that?
I will tell you that right now, the majority of the businesses, they wouldn't use the words, because I don't think they know the definition, but they would be more lifestyle. There are a couple of companies that.
What does that mean?
Your expectation is not to just jump to be a unicorn. You don't want to have $100 million in revenue and just keep growing.
Yeah.
But
you can make $1 million a year, but be really happy, contained, because you're making $1 million a year. You're running whatever business, so it's lifestyle. Like, you can live your life, and it's not grow at all costs. You're losing sleep and bad health because you just have to grow. You have
24/7 thing about the company.
VCs that are like, hey, you got to get this done, or like it's a lifestyle business.
We do put the option out there. We have VCs, or the companies present to VCs, having as mentors maybe of Next, which is like the highest level program that we have right now.
Which I recently attended your graduation.
That's right.
And there was 14 companies, I think.
It was 10 companies presenting on this event.
Yeah, no, it was impressive. I mean, it was in Spanish, so I got, una oportunidad para practicar y escuchar. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously you have a great culture, I noticed in that. And you had some investor like panels asking questions, and it was more of like a private, giving them an opportunity to pitch after going through and refining what they're doing. But there's some very intriguing companies, which a lot of people that are not familiar with the ecosystem here don't understand the opportunity. And that's attempting what we're trying to do in this podcast and this specific episode in general, in that like shifting the mindset of like what's possible down here, and like how like this, it's okay to have a lifestyle business. It's the type of investor, if you get an investor, is going to be quite different in that. How do you kind of coach around investment and how they should on investors and so forth in your programs?
We actually try to bring the investors over there. Like at that event that you attended, 2 of the panelists were investors. It was a VC company, and let's say an angel investor over there. So in Puerto Rico, if you want to grow, not a lifestyle, but just you got to step outside of Puerto Rico. You got to think about exporting. And that's the change of mindset that it's happening, this past years, and hopefully we'll keep changing that, because that's when we're going to see like the really big companies more often. We do have them, but how do we get that mindset to the people that want to go there? And we're already seeing a little bit of that, or companies that can be very big in Puerto Rico. So hopefully that's going to keep evolving.
Awesome. So as we near the end here, I do want to hit on a couple more things and get your perspective. So you're working with these different groups. Obviously, that must be fulfilling, or else you wouldn't be doing it. Are there any other initiatives or programs that you work with that you think the audience should know about?
Definitely. I'm also on the board of Banco de Alimentos, the food bank in Puerto Rico, which is the only Banco Alimentos food bank in Puerto Rico. We're part of Feeding America. Not many people know this, but Banco Alimento shares over 13 million pounds of food annually in Puerto Rico for people that don't have access. Yeah. You guys should come and visit the facilities, which are great. And that is an awesome program. We have programs for kids, for college students, for the elderly. So, we have to, on the one end, we need to have no Puerto Rican have hunger. And on the other end, how do we have our communities have enough food so that we can actually reduce what we're doing? So the metric of success is not that we keep giving more foods, more millions of pounds, but how we can get the Puerto Ricans more sustainable in
hand up versus a handout.
So that's one. And also on the board of League of Cities, Liga de Ciudades. League of Cities is a non-partisan but political organization. Basically, we want to have the most amount of majors in Puerto Rico get together, work together, so that we can learn from each other what's happening, what's good in one of the municipalities, so we can teach other municipalities. We get resources from out of Puerto Rico. Mayors in the U.S. come here and share also, and a lot of education for the mayors so that we can have more, a better quality of life in the municipalities in Puerto Rico.
So why did you decide to get involved with that one?
With Liga de Ciudades, because it's just necessary. When you become involved with an ecosystem, you learn that all the pieces have to work. It's just not the entrepreneurship world, where are you going to get capital? If the municipality, how does it fit? For example, in Río Piedras, we work hand in hand with the Department of Economic Development of San Juan, and that's been a very great success. Also, how do we get involved with the state, the DDEC as a whole? So all the different pieces have to work out, and obviously, we have the public sector, we have the private sector, we have nonprofits, and we have the public sector. How do you get the different aspects of the public sector? How do we get everyone working together? If that has to happen if we want to see Puerto Rico shine brighter.
Yeah. So.
And we have to get involved. That's it.
That's
we have to get
important.
involved.
Yeah.
And so speaking on getting involved, apart from donating or even just visiting maybe some of the businesses and being a patron or a client, is there any other ways that people can get involved, especially those who may be the business owners and investors in our community who are watching this? Like, what are the best ways they can get involved?
Definitely volunteering is great. If you think there's any type of way that you can give a little grain of knowledge, of education, of things that that probably a lot of people don't know about, but we can be better because of that. Like, bring it to the table. Let's use it. Let's do it. Again, some of them are gonna be hits, some are gonna be misses, but we will never know if we don't try them out. So if you think you can help, just be on board and we'll figure it out.
Got it. What's the best ways for anyone listening to get in contact with you?
Centro para Emprendedores, all of them.
Or any of the programs.
Yeah. Centro para Emprendedores, we have our page. We actually launched a rebrand, so you can visit centroparaemprendedores.org, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Same with Causa Local, same with Banco de Alimentos. Actually, Banco de Alimentos runs a great program of volunteering. If you want to have like a business kind of outing for your employees, you can have there up to 30 employees, have a shift of 4 hours, and just build boxes of food for people that need them. And that's a great building for team buildings. So basically right now, which I am saying Liga de Ciudades, also all of them, and of course through me, just hit me personally, DMs, and we'll figure it out.
This is great. We appreciate you coming on. You're so, connected, and you're able, you see the 30,000 foot view of where Puerto Rico is going and so forth. Maybe in closing, where do you see things going?
I'm very positive for the outlook. I'm sure you are too, because you're here, you're doing the podcast. So yes, I see Puerto Rico becoming more of an entrepreneurial island, and I see more community, which is what has to happen. Above all, you know that your network is your net worth. So, growing those networks and growing the communities is what's gonna, propel us forward. And I see that happening.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on that. Bullish on Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
That is why we do what we do. Yeah. We're excited about it. There's just something here. And it goes global. So, I mean, that's the other thing, too, is hopefully all those watching are pulling nuggets of wisdom and experience from this, regardless if you're in Puerto Rico or not, because we can all learn. And this is a great journey to be on, whether you're physically here or not on the island. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We love having you on. We love seeing you at our events. We hope to see everyone else at our events as well. Again, we have David, Drew, Brian, Uncommon Entrepreneur Podcast. Like, subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below. We'll answer those. And can't wait to see you till next time.
Yeah. See you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.